Okay, so picture this. You've had a good day, pretty solid actually. You ate really well, you moved your body, you did the whole damn thing. Then it's 8 p.m. and now there is just half a block of chocolate left in your pantry. You know what that's like? Oh, wait, okay. Maybe you're a keep your chocolate in the fridge kind of girl. I don't know. I feel like that's a whole other freaking discussion point over there. But now you're telling yourself, okay, well, it's just one square. It's just a square. And you know, and I know that you fucking know that every woman listening to this right now knows that just one square is the promise that you are never going to keep. There is no fantasy world where you are going to eat just one square of chocolate. Please, if you find that fucking fantasy world, you better send me the portal so that I can join you over there, because in 20 minutes, anytime I try and have one square of chocolate, 20 minutes later, for sure, the entire block is gone, and so is your hope for any weight loss for tomorrow. Girl, before you decide that this is a willpower problem, I want to give you something first. The real physical reason that this is so hard, because you deserve the truth and all the facts, not just a rah-rah motivational pep talk. What is up, you gorgeous, fabulous creatures, and welcome to the Losing It podcast. I'm your host, Kylie Pax, and I'm going to show you how to lose fat, stop binge eating, and become unfreaking recognizable in the next 90 days. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, you're going to want to do it, because today's episode is a ripper. Today, we're talking about how to eat sugar without losing control. And there is a real physical and neurological reason why sugar is so hard to resist. And it's not you being weak and having no willpower. This is actual chemistry. So I want to break it down for you, because when you eat sugar, it lights up your brain's reward system. This is something I learned 1,000 years ago. Like the actual dopamine pathway that fires for pleasure and reward in your brain lights up like firecrackers when you eat sugar. There is a well-known study out of Bordeaux that I read about a long time ago where researchers gave rats a choice between straight up white sugar or cocaine. Can you believe this? Listen, I'm a whole animal activist person. It breaks my heart. But if we just look at this on the scientific level, they gave the rats the choice, sugar or cocaine. Which one do you think these little rodents chose? Girl, 94% of those little bastards picked the sugar every single time. Now, scientists still are in a bit of a debate about the actual terms for addiction and whether sugar addiction actually meets the terms for that. It probably doesn't, because it doesn't hit your brain in exactly the same way that hard drugs do. But what is not open for debate is that sugar really does activate the real reward circuitry in your brain. And the more of it you eat, the more you keep that all or nothing pattern and cycle going. So then the more your brain builds tolerance to it, just like in a drug addiction, and starts asking for more just so you can get the same hit. So now you understand, when you're standing in front of that chocolate at 8 p.m. and it feels like you would take a bullet just to get a taste, that is real brain chemistry, not you having a lack of willpower. Now, there is a second part to this story, because brain chemistry will explain why sugar pulls you, why you feel that need or that urge. But what it doesn't explain is why one square turns into a whole block every single time. Now, that part, that kind of blackout eating or the, well, I've already fucked it up spiral, that is not chemistry or neuroscience. That is not a marketing or a brain chemistry problem. That is a you problem. The fact is that you, me, and every other woman out there has been taught by every single diet that we've ever done. I know I cranked out my first diet when I was about 13 years old. Bless my little mum's cotton socks. She bought me the Dolly magazine. There was some lame-ass diet in there about eating only fruit for 5 days, and you were going to lose 3 kilos in 5 days by eating, I don't know. So I'm sure it included pineapple. I don't think it included any bananas. Girl, you know there's nothing wrong with bananas, but that's also the point of what the diet industry does to us. It tells us that sugar in all its forms is dangerous and that it's the enemy, and one bite means you're completely fucked up, so you might as well eat anything that doesn't eat you first, because you're for sure going to be the size of a beluga whale tomorrow. Am I right? Now, you all know my eating codes, and if you don't, you totally should, because that is how I lost 18 kilos last year. You can grab them for free over at kyliepax.com/free course, because that fucker eating, that is a two-pronged fork right there. Now, I have 4 eating codes, and eating code number 3 states that you should be following your plan and not your mood, sis. And if you don't have a plan to follow that day, a plan for exactly how the 1% version of you would eat, choose, not choose, do and not do, then you're going to act and eat like a feral raccoon the minute you feel tempted. So what happens is your brain gives you a nudge to eat the chocolate. Okay, that's totally fine. Diet culture tells you that your success in your weight loss ventures depends on all or nothing behavior. And so you've got no room for anything but perfection if you want to hit your weight loss targets by the end of the week or the month or or whatever your goal is. Now, here's where it gets really good. There are two parts to the human brain. Well, I mean, there's probably 1,000 parts of the human brain, but for our purposes today, we're just looking at the main two. You have the habit brain or your subcortex, which is where your habits live and autopilot behaviors, and they all hang out in there. And then you have your prefrontal cortex, which is where you live. Now, most of us already know that our habits live in the habit brain, kind of makes sense, right? And our intelligent thinking lives in what they call the human brain. But what you might not know is exactly how these two parts of the brain divvy up their tasks. Your habit brain, by nature, is automatic, unthinking, and irrational. It's like living with an eternal 2-year-old. It wants what it wants, and it's going to throw a tanty if it doesn't get it. While the human part of your brain is where your identity, self-awareness, memory, intelligence, reasoning, language, and voluntary movement live. Now, remember that because it's important, okay? Why does it matter? Because the same part of the brain that stimulates eating also stimulates memory, learning, reinforcement, and reward. Now, this is literally why you feel like there are two parts of you constantly at war with each other, because there are. There is a part of you that wants to binge on sugar, and there is a part of you that equally wants to quit. But this is the most important part. Remember when I told you that the habit brain controls your habits and your human brain controls pretty much everything else? Well, here's why this is important, because your habit brain can send you smoke signals to do something, but it cannot make you get your ass up off the couch or walk over to the pantry or the fridge, wherever you keep your chocolate, and put the chocolate in your mouth. That right there is a you decision. And why do I keep saying that? Because your human brain controls your motor functions, not your habit brain. Your habit brain can tell you to beat your partner over the head with a frying pan after they piss you off for the 10th time that day, but it can't make you pick up the pan, raise it above your partner's unsuspecting head, and smack it down on his cranium. I feel like I've given this scenario a little bit too much thought. Your habit brain can tell you to go eat the chocolate, but only you have control of your arms and legs. So more willpower is not what's going to get you across the finish line here. Education and application is what you need. Now, here's the framework I coach inside of the Bombshell Blueprint, and I want you to steal it today. It's called the decision before the decision matrix. Now, the decision you're making at 8 p.m. standing in front of your pantry, I mean, please, that's not actually the decision. That's where the decision is lost. Your willpower at 8 p.m. after a full day of being a human is the lowest it's going to be within that 24-hour period. You're not weak. You're just trying to choose a great decision at the worst possible time. The real decision happens hours earlier in the morning or the night before, when you're calm and clear and not standing in front of the thing. That's when you decide, okay, am I going to eat this chocolate tonight? And if so, how much and when will I have it? Girl, you need to decide in advance. You put it on the plan, and then when 8 p.m. rolls around, you're not making a decision anymore. You're following the one you already made when you were in your right mind. That's the whole shift. Consistency over perfection, plan over mood. You're not relying on willpower at the exact moment your brain chemistry is working against you. You're relying on a decision your higher self has already made. Now, this is what it looks like in real life. I had a client a while back, one of my bombshell women, who used to have what she called just chocolate blackout. She would plan to have none, and then, of course, she would have all of it every single night. So what we did is we didn't remove the chocolate at night. We removed the decision at night. So she started deciding at breakfast what she was going to have that day. And she said, okay, I'm going to have one row after dinner with my favorite coffee. Oh, one row every single night for 3 weeks straight. And you know what happened? The blackout stopped and she lost 3 kilos. Not because she found more willpower, but because there was no decision left for her to make at 8 p.m. She'd already made it. That's not luck. That is a woman who was showing up and building the 1% version of her in real time. And every time you do that, it's a vote. You're casting a vote for the woman who trusts herself around food. And every time you let your mood override your plan, you're also casting a damn vote. But this time it's for the woman who cannot be trusted. You're not one chocolate cookie away from becoming a beluga whale, but what you are is the average of your decisions. So the question isn't, how do I control myself around chocolate? You don't need to. The question is, who do you want to be casting a vote for tonight? The woman who integrates the food she loves into her plan each day and still loses weight? Or the woman who holds onto her all or nothing mentality, binges every 2 days, and then spends her life in a perpetual cycle of stopping and starting? Because, girl, both options are available to you. All you have to do is decide. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And as always, please remember the only person who has the power to change your life is you. If you're ready to lose fat, stop binge eating, and become unrecognizable in 90 days, then please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And I will see you next week. Until then, gorgeous ones, bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to shimmy your butt over to KyliePax.com and join me inside of the Bombshell Blueprint so you can stop emotional eating and start losing your weight now. You'll also find helpful notes and resources inside my past podcasts that will help you lose your weight without losing your sanity. I will see you next week.